Postgame at GCU Ballpark, Arizona State completes their biggest comeback of the season, taking out Grand Canyon by a score of 13-10. Aiden Blanc and Ben Parris for WCSN. And Ben, I think we're all kind of still adjusting to what just happened. A 9-run eighth inning. The morale in ASU's dugout was at an all-time low, and then just like that, the electric offense that we've gotten used to all season just came alive and brought the Devils a nasty midweek win.
Yeah, it was wild. I think we were all ready, to pack up and go home, and out of nowhere, ASU takes the lead in this baseball game. But they were essentially asleep for 6 or 7 innings there, and the way that, Coach Blomquist said is these guys are really never out of their games, and that's the mentality he's wanted his players to buy into. But really, seemingly out of nowhere, they came out from out of nowhere and somehow pulled off a victory.
The big story coming in right from the time the lineup sheet was printed was the return of Nick McLean. His first game of his collegiate career was at UCLA last year, had back problems, didn't play, transferred, had an injury that sidelined him up until now. His first collegiate game, and it started pretty slow with his first couple of bats, but he was able to rebound so nicely. 2 massive hits late in the game, including his first collegiate home run.
Yeah, and it really feels full circle for him, right? Because his brother went here, he had committed to UCLA, and as soon as he went to UCLA, he said, wait a second, I might have made a mistake, because he saw how much fun his brother was having in Tempe before he got drafted. So he jumped ship over to Tempe and to Coach Blomquist's program to finally see him take the field and to bat leadoff in his first game. First couple at-bats didn't go well, but inevitably he made a defense. He played spectacular, in the outfield and, made a big play and got a home run just barely over the wall. I didn't think it was going to go out, but just snuck over there. It was almost a line drive.
To bat leadoff in your first collegiate game and to play as well as he did is pretty incredible, and that's something I think only a McLean could do. His brother's in minor league baseball. That looks like maybe where he's going if he can continue to play this way. And Willie did say his position's in flux. We'll see what he does over the weekend against in Seattle against Washington. But I would think he's almost going to be a mainstay in the lineup rest of the year, and that's going to be incredibly important for him.
Yeah, and you almost have a good problem if you're Willie Blomquist, because your roster that's already been pretty deep this season has gotten that much deeper. Of course, the team has dealt with injuries, so now that you have a guy coming back from injury, he talked about he had an MRI earlier last week. He didn't know if it would come back clean. It did, so now he might be able to come in for some more playing time. I think they're probably going to ease him back in a little bit more. He's not going to become an everyday starter overnight, anything like that, but now that you just have another name in the lineup, that certainly helps you as you get closer to the postseason.
We talked about how they were down 9-2 in the 8th inning, and a big reason was the pitching. Now, it's a midweek. You're not going to get your traditional weekend starters, but that is something that was very concerning for Willie. Had to empty a lot of the bullpen. How does that set them up for Seattle? Obviously, you have 3 guys, thankfully, that can go pretty long distance, but they're going to be coming in maybe a little shortchanged, or at least a little more shortchanged than they would have thought or liked coming in on game 1 on Friday.
I don't think it's something you worry about right now, maybe later on Saturday and Sunday, but it's something that you think about and something go, okay, this is what happened, on Tuesday night. And the last time these two teams played, they combined to have 13 different pitchers. It was a similar story tonight. So they're going to have to grind on a win this weekend. It's going to be the first time they're not playing a team that's on the bottom 4 of the Pac-12 standing. So the quality of competition is going to be a little bit higher. So this is going to be the first really big test for Arizona State. They beat the teams that they should beat. So now it's all about, all right, here's our first big test. Lineup card might be a little bit shorter out of the bullpen. What can we do here? And I think that this weekend is going to be a huge indicator for what this team can do down the stretch.
Well, Willie Blomquist said, despite the win, despite the good vibes, there will be a conversation tomorrow about the mistakes made tonight. And here he was in the postgame.
I was too upset to be worried about the 8th inning, to be honest. If I'm being transparent, I was really disappointed with the way we came out and started the first 2/3 of this game, 6 innings of this game. It was just not ready to play. That's the negative part, obviously, but the positive side of it is that you're never out of a game, and these guys, they know better than to cash it in. They're going to keep battling and keep fighting no matter what, and good things happen when you just string together good at-bats.
Well, kind of harsh words for Willie Blomquist. Not exactly what you would expect after a 13-10 win, but I think we both could agree it was warranted. There will be conversations had, and now you just need to change it up. GCU, not a meaningless game. Very meaningful game. Any game when you're ranked is meaningful, but it meant a lot less than these next 3 games against Washington. Like you said, your first real test in the Pac-12.
And Aside from that, this one is big for emotion. We've talked a lot. When they played GCU last year and ASU lost 7-5 at home, and what was a highly emotional game, and it seemed like losing was becoming normal in Tempe. And Coach Blanc said, if losing's the norm here, I want out. I don't want to be the coach here if we're not going to win baseball games. But a game like today, these guys have bought in. These guys are going to fight for 9 innings. We see that tonight. They're going to put up 9 runs in the second to last inning of the game if they have to. So that's going to go a long way so that when you do get into harder games, okay, these guys stretch each other. The morale is there. The chemistry is there. We saw the dugout was going crazy during that rally, and no one was giving up. We heard many guys say, all right, we're going to come back. We're going to come back when they were down 6-7 runs. These guys never gave up on each other. So when they get into these Pac-12 games, when they're looking at UCLA, Stanford, whoever else down the stretches, we trust each other, and these guys really believe that they can beat anybody.
Well, they went down by a lot, and they won by a little. That's all that matters. They walk away with the W, and they're off to Seattle this weekend. For Ben Parris, I'm Aiden Blanc saying so long from GCU. The Devs are off to Seattle for their 3-game series this weekend.